I was talking about with the relax release hand, and kind of what I have been explaining to my daughter Gracie here, who's getting ready for Louisville. You kind of want your hand to be like you're hanging on a monkey bar, just getting ready to slip and let go. So the release is just kind of hanging in your hand, your wrist is relaxed and flat, your hand is flat. So that's kind of the analogy that I kind of used with her. But just to kind of demonstrate how relaxed my hand is when I shoot, and how relaxed I think that it should be to shoot a good consistent shot, I'm going to have my wife here come poke at my hand and play with my little finger there a little bit and just show you how relaxed it is as I come to full draw. Don't anybody be trying this while I'm at a competition either. So I draw back, I have my thumb on the peg right now, my hand is tensed up to pull the bow back. I get back, as soon as I come back to full draw, my thumb comes off the peg and I let my wrist and hand and everything flatten out. I can feel the release right now slipping through my fingers a little bit, especially my index finger. It's just getting settled in. That's normal. So I'll come back, acquire the target, relax into the click, and now if you'll show my finger how relaxed it is, and the muscle on the side of my hand, there's no tension there at all. And all I have to do is just kind of relax through the shot a little bit more until it fires. Now if I was tensed up and everything, you have more of a tendency to you want to turn the release because your hand's really tensed up, so there's no movement at all going on as far as the release, kind of sliding through your hand and automatically turning the release. So a lot of people that have a tensed up hand position, their thumb will be really bent in, their pinky finger will be tight, this muscle here will be tight on their hand, and I don't feel that it contributes to a really good consistent shot every time. So keep everything relaxed, that way everything stays in line better. I kind of use my shoulder blades to kind of keep tension, consistent tension as far as holding the bow back. There's really no bicep muscle involved. That's all relaxed. Everything's relaxed. My elbow's up, but I'm kind of holding that up with the muscles in the middle of my back. So good relaxed hand will help you pull straight through the shot, will help your shot timing as long as you got the release set right. And should help you go through your shot more consistently. So the same relaxation technique works with a button as well, not only a back tension, but basically any release you shoot. I feel that you should be relaxed to be consistent. So with a button release, it's pretty much the same thing. And what you'll notice is I have this trigger set up to where it's in the same position as my thumb is in the back tension release when I drop it off the peg. So I really don't have to reach for it any. I don't have my hand spread out. It's basically I set the button on the release in the same spot that my hand is when it's off the peg on a back tension release. So same technique applies to a button release. As long as you relax through it, you'll notice that it'll automatically fire the trigger. There's none of this motion here that has to go on. Your thumb can basically just kind of hang out there and be relaxed, and with your hand flattening and everything coming through in a straight line relaxing, it's going to automatically kind of fire the release. And you'll see there's no thumb movement or anything like that. It looks just like a back tension shot with this button. So come back. Now this would be the same position that my thumb would be as I drop it off the peg on the back tension release. And all I'm going to do is go from, now this is exaggerated, but I'm going to go from a more tensed up position to kind of just letting the release relax through, and it's kind of that motion there that fires the release. So come to anchor, put your thumb on the trigger, and all you got to do is just relax through it. No motion as far as squeezing the trigger, no motion as far as really rotating the trigger into your thumb. It's more of just, pulling, act like you're pulling a straight line or relaxing a straight line through the middle of your hand and your wrists and everything. So it works the same way with the button. So the same hand relaxing technique should be used no matter which handheld release that you use, hinge, button. Pretty much it works with any of them. It works no matter which hat you wear. You can wear an AAE hat, of course a true ball hat, Yeti hat, or true ball hat. with the tag still on it. Easton hat, Carhartt. It's my most comfortable hat. Bodog Archery, Mountain Ops, Lancaster Archery Supply, even works with my daughter's hat. Works barefoot, standing on one foot, hands still relaxed. Foot on the stool technique, hands still relaxed. On the knees, left-handed. All right, the mental aspect of archery. Got lost or asked a lot of questions about, you know, how do I mentally prepare? A lot of the mental side of it, which I feel with archery or any other competitive sport, you know, it all boils down to, you know, what you're, you know, humanly capable of. So it's about 98% mental, somewhere around there, in my opinion. And how do I mentally prepare for what I do? For me, the biggest thing is confidence. Having confidence in your equipment, and confidence in your shot, confidence in your routine. Archery is all about being repetitive and doing the same thing over and over again. So if you're confident, you know that you can do that, and it's easy to do for the amount of time that you need to do it, then it's, you know, that takes the whole technical and mechanical side out of it if your equipment's good. And then you know, if you have confidence in your shot and how your shot's going at the time, you know, it kind of takes that out of the equation too. And then you just have to find basically a happy place to go to when it really comes down to it, when you're, you know, at a big competition, and let everything else happen in the background. I kind of give the analogy all the time, and I heard this growing up too, and it kind of stuck with me. But, you know, some of my best rounds of shooting has been when you're just basically in the zone, and you're just going through the rhythm and going through the routine, and, you know, you really don't even pick up on, you know, any of the distractions that are going on around you. And it's basically like driving down a road. You know, when you're thinking about something in the back of your mind, driving down a road, and before you know it, you know, you drive 5 miles and you really don't even remember what you passed. You know, you don't remember the cars you've seen or anything, but, you know, you kept it between the lines, and you got there safely. You was going the speed limit, you was doing everything right, but, you know, he wasn't even thinking about it. It's just like an autopilot thing. So I think that just with, you know, the more time of practicing and going through a routine, and you know, finding your right rhythm, and you know, doing it time and time again, that you're gonna become consistent, and you're not gonna have to worry about that. You can flip the switch, put it on autopilot, and let that take care of itself. But I know there was, you know, a lot of questions on there. I got my wife here. She's actually looking through my page right now. There was a ton of good questions on there. Taking me forever to answer them all, but a lot of them was about the mental side of it, which, you know, I could probably talk for hours on it. Can be a pretty deep subject, but I try to keep it simple, not only for myself, but try to keep it simple for you guys too. You know, you can go into detail about it, as, you know, detailed as you want, but you really shouldn't do that, I don't feel. So I'll have you read a couple there if you find one there.
When you're struggling, how do you regain confidence?
Is that Mike Matthews? When I'm struggling, how do I regain confidence? Well, it depends on what I'm struggling with. If I'm struggling with a setup, like whatever, you know, fit on a bow or tune on a bow or whatever, if I'm struggling with that, then I basically just try to figure out what area I'm struggling in, and focus on that. If I feel like I'm whatever collapsing on the shot, and I'll look at draw length. If I feel like I'm struggling with dipping out the bottom, or getting tired in my bow arm, I'll look at maybe the mass weight of the bow stabilizer setup. So I would basically just try to narrow it down and try to figure out why I'm struggling first of all, and maybe some things I need to tinker around with to try to work on it, and basically try to fix the problem, and then just basically sometimes I'll just shoot through it and figure out that maybe a lot of times it's just a bad day or a bad couple of days, and maybe I should just put the bow down and take a break and do something else and get a breath of fresh air, come back to it, and look at what's going on and try to fix it. So.
Okay. How do you keep your nerves in check when you're under pressure shooting?
How do I keep my nerves in check? Basically it all goes back to having confidence. So if I know everything about my shot and my equipment's good, I can set that aside, know that all's good, and just work on myself. How do I keep them under check? Like when I'm at a tournament, is I basically just, I'd like to just zone out and focus on the simple steps that I have to go through to execute a good shot. And it sounds boring to talk about. You hear people talk about it all the time, but it really is just a thing. It's a repetitive thing, and to be good at archery, you have to do the same thing time and time again. So if you're just focusing on going through your shot and what you have to do to get your good rhythm down, to get your flow down, and do that, then you're not focusing on anything else. So I would say just basically try to think about the things that you've been working on at home, practicing and trying to refine, and still do the same thing in a tournament. If you're working on a little bit of your release hand or something, or if you're working on a little bit of your alignment, focus on those things in the tournament. A lot of times that'll take your mind off things that are stressful. You won't think about your score, you won't think about anyone else's score or any of that stuff.
Okay.
So
How do you eliminate from holding too long before the shot breaks?
how do I eliminate from holding too long? Well, basically, if it ever got to the point to where I felt like I was holding too long, the number one rule of thumb is just to let down. So if you feel like your eyes are maybe running out of oxygen, things are getting a little blurry, you're coming out of alignment on your peep or whatever, just let down and try again, if you have time to do it.
Okay, and a lot of people ask about practice. How often do you practice? How many arrows do you shoot a day?
It all depends. It goes back to, again, if I feel like I have something to work on in my shot, if I feel like, or if I'm working on something with a bow, trying something different, with a setup, then I'll shoot a lot. I find myself shooting more arrows when I'm tinkering around with stuff than I do when I don't have anything to work on. And I'm not the type of person that just goes out there and shoots for 8 hours a day and really not working on anything. If everything's going good, I'll go shoot enough to say, hey, everything's in check. If I'm shooting outside, my marks are good, I'm grouping at distance, I'm grouping, shot's going good, and I'll just put it away, and I'll call it good at that.
Okay, holding steady was another big one.
I don't know. I don't know. I get asked that a lot. People say, how do you hold so steady? Oh, you're solid as rock. I personally, nobody's solid as rock, and I'm definitely not. And I try not to even think about it, because you don't have to be solid to shoot a good score. You basically, you have to have a good shot to shoot a good score. I would say to a point, a lot of it is just muscle memory and basically, again, going through that routine, having a setup that fits you right. Of course, a setup that fits you right and stabilizer setup, all that's very important. when it boils right down to it in the fine detail, and you can really fine tune all that stuff. But as far as just having the physical ability to hold steady, I don't know. I mean, I'd say some people are able to do it easier, but I think a lot of it is also muscle memory. A lot of it is, goes back to being mental again. Some people, the more they see movement, the more they move, but some people can look past the movement, focus on the middle, and they don't know how much they're moving, and they hold pretty good. So it's kind of a complicated subject there too.
Okay, so I want you to talk about being patient on your release hand.
Being patient. Well, I mean, yeah, you have to be patient. Once you establish whatever rhythm, shot timing is comfortable for yourself, you never really want to rush a shot. I mean, how do I be patient? I have everything set and the release set to where when I relax into my shot the same way each time and come to my click, I don't have to do anything except aim and just kind of relax through, just like I talked about on the shot execution part, just kind of relax through it and the shot breaks. Anytime you tense up, the shot tends to go a little bit longer than expected.
Okay, you want to take one more?
Yeah, wasn't there one in there about, was it like something about mental standing on the line, or did we already cover that about?
We covered a little bit, but a lot of people want to know exactly what you're thinking when you're standing on the line trying to shoot the X. What are you thinking about?
Kind of already covered that, I think.
All
There's
right.
no one certain thing that there's no certain thing that I think about all the time. I mean, as far as, I try to take my mind, to a nice relaxing place or whatever, but a lot of times that's thinking about family, kids, stuff like that, maybe. But I'm not saying that I do that as I'm standing there at full draw. I mean, when I'm standing there at full draw, I'm always 100% thinking about one thing, and one goal, and that's to try to shoot the best shot that I can shoot, and to feel. Archery is so much a feel sport, and you have to feel everything, and it has to all feel exactly right. So I'm always thinking about, okay, is that the type of feel that I need to be feeling right now, or do I need to make a little adjustment here, a little alignment adjustment? So I'm always, focusing on the whole feel thing and the pressures that I'm feeling, and making sure that that's all in check, and then it just goes down to just zoning out and focusing on the middle and relaxing through the shot. It's really not that complicated, and a lot of people make it more complicated than it really is. So I just try to keep it simple, and just try to relax through and do the same thing that I do in practice. All those hours that you spend in practice.
Okay, Kathy wants to know your recipe for chocolate chip cookies.
Can't give that out. Sorry. That's a secret. Only me and Gracie know that one. So, sorry, Kathy. What other ones? Is there any other ones real quick? I know this is probably dragging on to be a long video here, but.
Okay. Do you ever feel lost?
I ever feel lost? I don't say I ever feel lost. There's definitely been times where that I've struggled, for sure. Yeah, I've struggled a lot, but I don't know. I mean, I've always, if it ever comes down to a point where I'm struggling, I always just try to play around and try to pinpoint the problem and try to work on it from there. If I feel like I'm not holding well, is it mass weight, is it holding weight, is it stabilizer setup, is it draw length? Those are things you look at. And maybe if you're not holding well, if you feel like your shot's not flowing smooth, do I need to go shoot blank bail? Do I need to set my release different? Do I need to make sure my hand's relaxed? So I'm sure there's times that I do feel lost, but that's the times where I really work hard at it and try to fix a problem, because it's definitely not a good feeling to have, especially when you're trying to make a living at it and you got a tournament coming up the next weekend. So that's the times when you burn the midnight oil and spend some extra hours into try to figure out what's going on and get it the best you can get it before you leave for the tournament. All right, thanks, Bo Junkie. Thanks everyone for liking my page, asking the questions, showing interest in it and everything. Hopefully it helps some of you guys out. But till next time, we'll see you in Louisville. Thanks, Bo Junkie, and good Lord.
Come on.
All right, thanks everybody for all the questions, all the new likes on the page. Thanks, Bo Junkie, for calling me out. Hopefully there was some good information in there for you guys. I could ramble on about it probably for hours and hours, but try to keep it short and sweet. All right, thanks, Bo Junkie. Thanks for all the questions, everyone, and all the new likes on the page. Hopefully it helped you guys out, and we'll see you next time on the tournament trail. All right, thanks, Bo Junkie. Thanks, everyone, for liking my page, and man, Jesus Christ, come on, cut it out. All right, thanks, Bo Junkie. Thanks for everyone for liking my page, and
Winston, can you come do this for him?